Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, February 2nd. It is our first community meeting for the month of February, and we're excited to have you here. Give me a second. I will share my screen so we can all collectively look at our agenda. If you're here and want to add your name to the attendees list, please do so up at the top there. I've dropped the HackMD link in the chat. So our welcome. Happy Lunar New Year. Thanks for being here at our community meeting. Every Wednesday, I'm so excited to see all of you show up, and I'm looking forward to another great meeting. The objective of our community meetings is to give you an update about the project, the roadmap, how things are going with engineering, essentially to give you updates and announcements so that you understand what's coming up next. And then on the week after our community meetings, we have our office hours, which is an open format for you to come and get your questions answered. We're going to start off with some announcements. First is that a reminder that we have our adopters.md file there. I want to thank Scott, Carlos, and Robert for opening PRs against that adopters file to get our first adopters added to the Tanzu Community Edition repo. Hopefully we'll work out everything and get those PRs merged soon. Community shoutouts. This is everyone who submitted and had PRs merged in the month of January. So thank you to all of you. You can click each of those links and see those PRs that folks have added. So for those that might have missed it, we had an exciting week last week where we welcomed the kpack package into Tanzu Community Edition. And we had a demo last week at our office hours of kpack, but we wanted to give those folks an opportunity to introduce themselves to you here in our community meeting. So I want to hand it over to the kpack folks.
Hi everyone, my name is Tom. I work on kpack. I think I'm the only one here from the kpack team. But for those who don't know, kpack is basically a project that takes advantage of cloud native build packs and allows you to build OCI images using build packs in Kubernetes. We are a small team of 4 engineers and a product manager. I guess I will say we do have working groups every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we have a Slack in both the build packs Slack and the kpack Slack. If anyone ever has any questions or wants to chat about anything kpack related, yeah, that's where you'll find us. Is there anything else, Nigel, that you wanted me to kind of talk about?
No, Tom, I think that's great. And if folks want to have a look at what we have in the HackMD, there was a pretty great demo from Tom where you can find all of the code there. I have it linked there, the repository for Tom's demo. And then we had a thread during the office hours that answered a lot of questions and had a pretty lively discussion about the project and what to do with it. So I would encourage you to check out those two things.
I wanted to thank everyone for the feedback during the after the demo. That was very, very helpful. We took that back and synthesized it and planning how we work on things based on a lot of that feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, it was great to see. So hopefully we get a lot more feedback, a lot more synergy between the TCE users to get kpack working better for everyone. So thanks again, Tom, for being here. Thanks for the demo last week and for the intro to the team just now. We've got a lot of updates from our about our roadmap. So I want to hand it over to our product manager, Roger.
Hey, thanks. Do you want me to share, or do you want to just click through to the roadmap? Click through on the link.
I'll click through.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oops.
Okay. Maybe you should share.
I shall, and we.
Oh wait, that was a 500. That's
yeah, I know. But luckily I already have it up, so I don't have to worry about it. I think. Do I?
Hug ops to the GitHub folks right now, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes, there we go.
Awesome.
Okay, are you seeing this?
Yep, looks great.
Okay, cool. So this is just an update to the roadmap.md in the root of the project. We've made some changes in the format. Well, why don't I just talk through it? Instead of timeframes, which are, as unreliable as in many roadmaps, they all have the disclaimer about not a commitment and timeframes can change and so on. Since that's true, we thought that what would be at least as meaningful to people in looking at the project is the state or stage in the process of the item. Is it just submitted? Was it just submitted? Is it waiting? Is it awaiting a proposal? Has the proposal been accepted and waiting for us to schedule and resource it? Is it in process? So we will mark things as awaiting proposal and review, and implementation in process. I think we've usefully rewritten the how to help and how to propose an item to be useful. And then below that, we have the current high-level roadmap. This was this was last updated, I think, about what, Josh, about 20 minutes ago. As before, we'll group things that are out there into themes. They will be updated. We're going to, when it is targeted for a release, we will show the targeted release. Sometimes activities span more than one release, so they'll be shown as ongoing. Things that either are general groups of things or are efforts that aren't specifically in a release will probably show, a phase of NA. So let's look at what we've got, and I will, I guess, take questions after each theme. So we grouped a couple of things that were in different places before together in the idea of enhancing the user experience for both skilled users and new users. So one of them, which has been previewed before and is going to be in the v0.10 release as a standard part of the installation, is Unmanaged Cluster. And our experience so far is that Unmanaged Cluster on local machines stands up consistently in under 4 minutes. I've got a pretty zippy thing here that it, I've seen it in under 2, not overcommitting, but it's cool. And the idea is that it can run and do productive things on consumer hardware, not just servers. So as we said, this is in progress, and in progress in this case means really that it's at where it's likely to be, and it's waiting for the completion of the release, which I'm sure Josh will talk about a little after this. It is a goal, though we don't have any approach in mind, and it may very likely be work that has to be done outside of this team. So we can't really, put a time frame around it to reduce time to cluster availability in the public clouds. We did a great version on, with Unmanaged Cluster for the local machines, but we really need to, getting clear signals that we need to reduce time to cluster availability in the clouds as well, private and public. One upcoming in the next release is, as of right now, you can take a TCE cluster and attach it to Tanzu Mission Control, which means you can do some management functions in it, but you can't do lifecycle management. And in version 0.11, it will be registerable, which means that you can register a management server and have it control the management server and all of its workload clusters. We are doing serious thinking about a UI that goes past Bootstrap, and in making it easier for people to get things done by simplifying. I mean, right now I'm going to say some concepts. They're not specific steps, but by simplifying, by using more likely defaults on each platform, by not having forms, basically not having a UI that while it looks great, it is sort of like filling in the blanks in YAML, and we should be able to make more reasonable defaults and assumptions for, like according to the 80-20 rule, and get a lot of the conceptual clutter out of people's early experiences. And finally, this one is around Bootstrap, which is to be able to provide useful feedback instead of either none or a plethora of log messages that they can't find stuff in, and a black box where stuff just fails. So being able to use that info to diagnose Bootstrap issues more easily. So those are really the experience-focused issues. Any questions? This is, not an exhaustive list of issues that are in the repo, because of course that would take us about 2 hours to talk about. But any questions or anything that you've been involved with that you think needs higher focus that isn't here?
The only thing that I might say is, and I've complained about, giving constructive feedback about this before, which is the idea of a meta package that, like, I can basically say, and I don't see it listed here, but I actually think it's really, for adoption purposes, is huge, especially within the developer community, that I can say, I want a developer cluster, and that installs Contour, that installs it installs Harbor, it installs or some sort of registry, something where I can just say, I want this thing, and I don't have to worry about installing all the plugins and configuring them. You'll ask me for the information you actually need, and then make it so. And when I'm done, I'm just ready to go. So I think that actually needs to be raised in priority.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to see it. The first time we're likely to see it is also probably 0.11 with the arrival of some more developer packages. They're also in either that release or the following release will be a, let's call it a meta package for to support developer workflows.
Kartik, I see your hands up.
Yeah, thanks, Steve, for bringing that up. There's actually a design doc proposal for specifically the meta package capability available in the TC repo right now. The application platform, I think you'll see sort of down there in Roger's roadmap as one of the items that is sort of planned to come. I was literally just started this meeting creating a PR to share the links of those proposals to Roger's roadmap, and then GitHub went down, so that couldn't happen. But the meta package proposal is very generic, and while one of the scenarios it's going to be used with the application platform is in a sort of a developer scenario, it can very well be leveraged in various other combinations by other users who would want to create a package of a meta package of like observability tools or operator centric tooling. And so that proposal is very generic, and so that we can leverage it in multiple ways in TCE. But one of the applications will be used as a developer profile or developer meta package for the application platform. So yeah, as Roger mentioned, that's something that's planned for V11/V12. Trying to figure out the logistics there.
Yeah. Any others? Okay, thanks. Next area is being, of course, a robust Kubernetes platform. I did not speak about what our life cycle for Kubernetes packages is because there's still some alignment to be done on that, especially since right now our ability to be out of sync with Kubernetes is dependent, I should say, on some work that is being planned and should be underway soon to uncouple some of the interlocking between Tanzu Community Edition and Tanzu Kubernetes Grid. But that will rear its head in this section when we're really ready to talk about it. So the two areas we're looking at now are, first of all, air gap support. And we call this category limited internet. It ranges from proxies to full air gap. And I think a first step, if I can find somebody who can do it soon, would be simply to test the air gap documentation for TKG against TCE. We want to simplify from there, but that's a great first step. We haven't done anything with it yet, but it has been raised to us by people, and it's pretty important. And the other is just an ongoing, is just being able to be sure that we have end-to-end tests that are meaningful across all providers and that everything gets tested everywhere it needs to be. Questions there?
Hey, Roger, in the interest of time, can we like do the
Yeah, I'll move it along. Okay, so package library, basically we want to recruit, just work to prioritize things we can bring in and also support our, both the community and software vendors in Carvel packaging their packages to be used with TCE. This is the issue I talked about before about making changes to allow us to separate some of these key resources from TKG and then be able to move to be really fully upstream of TKG. And then in the domain of the application platform, have an installable environment with the pre-configured tools. I think this talks to what you were, Steve. Have the tools and processes and documentation for package contribution and maintenance. I don't know, Josh, do you want to say anything about that very quickly?
No, I think that covers
it.
it.
Just all there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And finally, we are working with the Bitnami folks to, conversations with the Bitnami folks that we hope turns to work soon, to expose through kubeapps the packages in Bitnami library and have them be manageable in a compatible way to packages in the repo. That is either kubeapps will deal with both Helm charts and Carvel packages, or Bitnami will also add packaging as Carvel packages. And then there's some other areas that are just general. The first one is sort of redundant. I can fix that, which is, again, reducing the bootstrap time and resources. Another issue that's been raised by a few people, and the issue link is there, is being able to have cluster API providers be done out of tree and pluggable into the standard distribution. And finally, we have had a fair number of requests, especially from Mac users, for ARM either worker nodes or workload clusters. And we're dependent on some work that's upstream of us, so we can't really schedule it. But that's, we would like to be able to run on, first of all, bootstrap from, and then run locally on Macs that are newer than 1.5 years old.
Awesome. Thank you, Roger. What should folks, how should folks give feedback if they would like to comment on the roadmap?
That's a good question. Should we open a discussion or should we just?
Yeah, I'll open a discussion for it and we'll direct folks there.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So next up, we've got our engineering update. So I'll hand it over to Josh.
We are actively validating what will be the v0.10.0 release. Can't wait to get that out to y'all. Hopefully in a week or so. We're going through release engineering validation now. There's some promotion stuff we have to get done. So if you're not aware, this has been heavily delayed. We've learned a ton of stuff about how to release software in the open, and we're hoping future releases will go a little bit smoother than this. Psyched to get that out to y'all, both with all the package updates and the unmanaged cluster model. Our proposal updates are pretty light this week. We did have the kpack introduction, which many of you have already heard about. So that's a proposal that is fully completed and implemented. Thank you so much, kpack team, and Tom especially, for shepherding that through with very little guidance. And as a reminder, we have a request for comments open for how we plan to improve the visibility of management and workload cluster bootstrapping. So do check that out if you've got some ideas. And then the last thing I'll say is we do have a lot of new proposals. We just have not gotten the chance to look at them. We'll be looking at them tomorrow. So a lot of cool stuff is coming. We have some stuff about how the Tanzu CLI can be used in the context of both TCE and TKG without overwriting and killing your whole environment. And we've got this UI thing that Roger was alluding to help people on ramp. So lots and lots of cool stuff coming soon. And I'll have an update for you next office hours. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Josh. Looking forward to that stuff next week in our office hours. I want to hand it over to our advocacy team who has a few items here.
Hey, yeah. So the recordings for Cora's kpack talk and Scott's Tanzu Community Edition and Carvel talk are now on YouTube. This Friday, Cora and Whitney, I believe, are doing a TGIK session on kpack. And then on February 8th, so next Tuesday, we have a TAP overview, which last I checked, Scott mentioned, he's here, so he can say if I'm wrong, but mentioned that Tanzu Community Edition would be involved in that as well. There's also one on February 22nd, but that PR is in the works right now.
It will be running on Tanzu Community Edition. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That does it for all of the updates that we have for our community meeting this week. I want to say, again, a huge thank you to all of you for being here. It means a lot that we have a community that is growing and having a lot of active participants, both submitting PRs and comments and also coming to our community meetings and watching the recording. So to all of you who came and all of you who are watching the recording, I really appreciate it. We're going to be back next week for our office hours where you can come and get your questions answered and hear some more updates about some of the things that Josh talked about. So until next time, take care. Bye, y'all.